Hello. I'm Interweb Studios, and in this video, we ask Reddit what are things that you did the hard way because you did not know the normal way. Now that is a mouthful to say. So the title of this video will probably be like activities people overcomplicate. So yeah. Anyways, sit back and enjoy. Cleaning the damn microwave. I struggled to scrub all the dried up bits off, then a friend told me to just put a small dish of water in it and turn it on for a couple of minutes. Everything wipes right out. I was such a dumb ass. Microwave a ball of wet paper towels approximately 3 minutes. Use dry towels to grab it with and you have a little portable steam cleaner that lasts about 45 seconds. I'm sure all my fellow programmers can relate to the feeling of, wait, the library has a function for that? I've been coding it myself this entire time. Repeat ad infinitum. Control backspace to delete entire words instead of letter by letter. Oh duck. I didn't know this. Thanks. Watch a senior developer code for an hour and your text editing mind will be blown. Plus you got to see them do their whole day of work. No kidding. My senior dev coworker taught me how to select 30 consecutive line, and select the next word in each regardless of length. Made the TypeScript definition for a massive object in about 30 secs. He's one of the laziest people I've ever met. Which naturally makes him one of the best software devs I've ever met. Literally every single thing I've ever learned to do in Excel stems from a situation like this. I once got laid in a medium-term friend with benefits due to my Excel skills. I was at work drinks and met someone I didn't really know. We were all drunk and randomly bitching about work. One tech assistant was complaining about how she has to manually align 2 document lists every month and it's a week of mind-numbing work. I asked her if VLOOKUP couldn't do it. I explained what it did and how it would probably do 98% of the work for her. She listened and was astonished. We were both pretty sloshed, but I promised to come to her desk on Monday to show her. She said I was really nice and so smart. Anyway, I ended up going back to her place that night and we ended up ducking for about 6 months secretly. Only one guy at work ever suspected. VLOOKUP did work, by the way. More like VHOOKUP, am I right? I worked at a big US telecom company where my whole job was to get 2 spreadsheets, do the matching of records and send the results, every week. No one in my team had heard of VLOOKUP. The person before me was doing this manually and it took her entire week, so I was given only this task, nothing else. Lazy as I am, I decided to not tell anyone while I automated the whole thing with data connections, formulas and macros. After that, my only job was to literally click a button every Thursday at 3 p.m. I know I could have automated that as well but kept it manual just so I could get a feeling of at least doing something. Everyone in my team was in a different town, so it didn't matter if I went to the office or not. For many months I lived a fully paid retired life, and left only because of boredom. My dishwasher is across the kitchen from my utensil drawer. For years, while unloading the dishwasher I would stuff as many utensils as I could in my hands. I'd inevitably drop some, and there are a few nicks in my hardwood floor from dropping forks and spoons. One day at work, a coworker unloaded the dishwasher and removed the utensil basket and carried it over to the utensil drawer. I never felt so dumb. I just learned this too from watching my husband unload the dishwasher. I was like, oh. As a digital artist, I started out coloring inside my lines with my stylus, meticulously not missing any blank pixels inside the lines. Then on a new layer, add the shading, doing the same thing but being careful to make it look like a shadow on the figure. 3 years later I learned there's a toggle on the magic wand tool, so when you select a space, it selects only that contiguous space and not jump across lines, so select the same color, or lack of color space on a layer. I could basically fill an entire drawing and then go back and just fill in the details where the lines touched so the selected area didn't reach those crevices. 4 years after that I learned about increasing or decreasing your selected area by n pixels. Somewhere in there I also learned about layer clipping for shading. Only colors on the occupied space of the layer it's clipped to, and layer masking. TLDR, basic coloring and shading in Photoshop went from 4 hours to 4 seconds. When I was a kid I was bad at nail clippers. I knew to put my nail in the chompy bit at the end, but I didn't realize that the handle, lever folded out. so I would just squeeze really hard until I broke my nail off in the blades. This went on for an embarrassingly long time before my mom saw me and taught me how to open the lever. For dusting things like baseboards, windowsills, and picture frames, the best tool is a clean paintbrush. I always used to either use a cloth or something made specifically for dusting, but the paintbrush is much faster and easier. I keep a cheap 2-inch paintbrush exclusively for dusting now. Also works great on cobwebs. Copy-pasting on a computer by meticulously highlighting, right-clicking, then selecting the copy option. Didn't know about Ctrl-C Ctrl-V for way too long. We had a pool when I was a kid, swam at the public pool all winter. So lots of water time. Worst thing was having to get out and go pee, because as a girl you'd have to pull your bathing suit down and sit there cold and naked and then have to pull on a cold, wet suit and it was sticky and icy and awful. I'd hold it until I absolutely had to go. Occurred to me as an adult you can just pull the crotch part to the side, and it stays put while you pee. How much longer did it take you to realize you could just pee in the pool? The snip tool on Microsoft. I used to click print screen and then crop down everything. Snip tool is a game changer. Window, Shift, and S for those wondering. Took me a while to figure out you simply collapse a comment thread on Reddit by simply tapping not long pressing. I've been opening pistachios with my thumbs for 30 years until I saw my wife use half a shell to wrench her next one open and then my mind exploded. If you hold the spacebar on your cell phone it's way easier to move the cursor where you want it to be. Sorry, wrote this while tired. Did it the hard way, the way you get angry at your fat fingers for far too long. Edit. To clarify. Write some random word in a text message. Hold spacebar for a second or two. Slide thumb back and forward on the spacebar and the cursor will move. Makes it easy to just remove one letter in a long misspelled word. There's a scene in some teen movie where the girl was trying to convince her brainwashed boyfriend that he was brainwashed, that she wasn't the enemy, yada yada. One of the things she said to him to convince him that she knew him intimately was, "You always double knot your shoelaces." I remember watching it thinking, well, yeah. Doesn't everyone? If you don't double knot your shoelaces, they'll come untied. It was enough of a weird moment that it made me wonder if there was something I was missing about the way people tied their shoes. And lo and behold, after some furious Googling it turned out that I didn't know the difference between a square knot and a granny knot, and I had been tying my shoes wrong for my entire life. Wait, what kind of witchcraft are you talking about? If you do, right over left. Make the loops, right over left, that's a granny knot. It'll come untied too easily. If you do, right over left. Make the loops, left over right, that's a square knot. It'll hold better than a granny knot, so you won't have to double knot. Parchment paper. No more scrubbing off baked on cheese and sauce. If it goes in the oven, I use parchment paper. Not to be confused with wax paper. Do not use wax paper in your oven. If you hold down the 0 button on an iPhone it will bring up the degree symbol. You just changed my life. I was wondering where the duck that symbol was. As a kid, I wore a uniform to school. It was a jumper and then eventually as I got older it was a skirt. I definitely did not realize I could keep it on and just lift the hem. My honor roll brain but very dumbass self had me completely taking off my dress or skirt every time I went to pee. On the bright side, I'm very good at zipping up my own dress from the back. I have mixed hair and would always brush from root to end because that's how everyone else did it and how I was taught. Wasn't until I was watching a movie in my late 20s and a character's maid brought up that the character with mixed hair needed to brush out the knots on the end before working up to the roots. I gave it a try and then got confirmation at work from other girls with similar hair that that's how it's supposed to be done when you have a certain type of tight curls. The years I spent crying while having chunks of hair ripped and torn out. That you turn the deodorant to lift the hard plastic off. Learned this about 5 years ago. I'm 36 years old. I struggled needlessly for so long trying to pry that damn thing off. Wow. You just changed my life. 35 years old here. Don't feel bad. I was in my 50s. Hanging pictures. I used to meticulously measure and line up so my nails so they'd match the hardware on the back of the frame. Now I just use a piece of painter's tape, lay it on the back of the frame, Mark hardware on the frame and then remove the tape and place it on the wall, and that gives you the exact placement for your picture hanging hooks and nails. I don't understand. Can you explain? If a picture frame has 2 holes on the back to hang on nails, put a single length of painter's tape across it and use a pen to mark where the holes are. Take the tape off and place it on the wall and use a level to make sure it's straight. Then just nail where you marked on the tape. Should be good to go. I'm no expert though. Chopping vegetables. Parents always tried to teach me good knife skills, but I could never get the hang of it. Just too painful. Turns out my hands are actually kinda medically ducked up, they just don't look it. Boyfriend got me one of those slap chop thingies. Ducking love it. Just pop a zucchini in there, wah-cha. And boom, I have slices for Sammy's. I have a shelf that I got as a kid. My dad's office was getting rid of old stuff, so he grabbed it for me. The damn thing is heavy AF. We're talking probably 150,200 pounds, 6 feet tall, 3 feet wide, 1.5 feet deep, with removable, adjustable shelves. Half a dozen moves with friends, up, down multiple floors of stairs. One of my buddies notices small recessed screws. The ducking thing comes apart like an IKEA piece of furniture. The individual slabs are still 40–50 pounds on their own, but it no longer requires a crew of 5 to move anywhere. I'm so tempted to get rid of it, but it's a good piece of furniture. Far sturdier than IKEA stuff, but not as aesthetically pleasing. Keep shaking the shaving gel and struggling to more than a quarter of the can out. Till it dawned on me that they are pressurized and every shake causes it to lose pressure, therefore makes dispatching it harder. I've now used many and actually got the bottom of every can by simply not shaking them. I'm 40 and also an engineer. Had a complete and utter brain fart since I started shaving. Rub your razor heads backwards on leather or denim when you are done. Kind of like how they sharpen a straight razor with a strop. Keeps them sharp and dry. Keep a patch of old denim, and gently rub your face down after a shave. It will dull the sharp edges of the freshly cut hair, and stubble will be much softer. With that, I hope you enjoy the video. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment any things you do the hard way, just because. Check the video on screen now for other content you may like. And until next time.